Concentrate power. You're in the dog zone for an hour. Come on. You know the number. 1-900 hot dog. 1-900 hot dog. 1-900 hot dog. Yeah, 9,000.
Welcome to the DOGGZZONE 9000, the official podcast of 1-900hotdog.com, the glorious last stronghold of internet comedy. We have daily articles from talented, creative, human writers. It's ad-free because we're fully funded by you right now, going to patreon.com/1900hotdog. Dial 1-900hotdog for fun. It's not a phone number. I'm Seanbaby from the web. Here's something fun about me. The oldest celebrity I would sleep with is Dr. Jane Goodall. My partner in website and podcast was the 2019 backup Grand Marshal for Buns, Michigan's Macho Man March for February Festival Parade. He's handsome and high-flying author Robert Brockway.
Oh, you put a real one in there. See, you do all these funny ones. You've actually been chronicling my real, genuine hunk work. I'm just flattered. I'm flattered you've been following my career. Here's a Brockway fact. I have a way sexier animal act than Louis Anderson, but nowhere near Anita Morris. I mean, holy shit.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I do have some sexual notes on that part.
We'll
get to it.
We'll get to it.
You can find our guest every Monday at 1-900hotdog. She is the beautiful and high-flying author, Lydia Bugg.
Hi, thanks for having me. If I could pick one of the things to do, it would also be the one where I just get picked up by an elephant and look sexy.
It's the best circus act that will ever be. It's kind of doesn't have that sadness of an animal act. It's kind of just sort of like, elephant seems like he's having fun. He could crush her to death if he got cranky about it. I like this.
This is, without a doubt, my favorite out-of-context pre-subject banter. Like, if you did not know what we're talking about at all, if you didn't even look at the title of this podcast and you came into this and you're like, what the fuck is about to happen?
I think they get it. Somebody's about to fuck an elephant.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's it.
Trust those instincts now and forever. Lydia, I mentioned you're a columnist here at our successful and amazing website, but where can people get more of you?
I am on Blue Sky. You know Lydia, I think is what you have to... The tags on Blue Sky are so long. It's like, youknowlydia.bsky.app or something.
Yeah.
But if you just search for me on there, I bet you can find me. And also TikTok. You know Lydia on TikTok, if the government allows it.
Right. There's that. If we even have a country by the time you're hearing this.
Who knows?
Speaking of politics, I assembled us here today to discuss a terrible thing that's haunted our country for decades, probably a leading issue among most voting blocs. We're talking about the CBS Circus of the Stars.
Nothing we're about to say or have ever said has ever shocked me as much as when they said, welcome to the 13th annual
Yes!
Circus of the Stars.
I felt the same way. How did this fade from national consciousness so quickly that, like, this was made the year I was born and I've never heard of it? It's
I agree
not
completely.
that old.
It's so weird and yet so broad, as if like you can the one we watched was the 13th annual, and it included all the original commercials, and they were just for anybody. Just like, here's coffee and diapers. Just like, you're the most normal American that's ever been watching this show.
Yeah, that's what I took away from those commercials too. Like, I'm glad they were there, because normally when you have one of these artifacts and they leave the commercials in, it's like, it kind of makes my day a little bit. Like, yes, I would love to see all of these commercials. And then this reminds me that, no, they were not always good. That there was just an absolute blandness of blanket America. And then looking at that going, holy shit, your demographic was legitimately just every single American.
Every single American.
How?
It was so, like, manufactured and competent. It was like these ad agencies had so much talent and wealth designed to just make the most aggressively normal, like, deodorant commercial. Just like, hi, I'm a totally normal dude talking to a normal dude by two very talented actors you might recognize from feature films. And it's like, wow, this must have cost $1 million to sell me fucking Secret for Her.
Well, maybe it would have been better if it wasn't for St. Paul, Minnesota, you know? Like, we got all the most boring Midwestern commercials.
Again, this is for, like, the heart of America was into this, and that nothing has been as surprising as that. We need to back up a tiny bit and explain that Circus of the Stars is exactly what it sounds like. I'm done with my explanation.
I did some just a little bit of research, just for context. Started in 1977. It was adapted from a French show called La Galère d'Orion, and it was originally designed as a circus of the stars to raise money for out-of-work actors, like as almost a charity event. I'd say that spirit of charity did not translate to the American version. When an American actor is out of work, we say, fuck you, Race Vanilla Ice, and a girl who did hand stuff with Bret Michaels in an obstacle course. Break up with my girlfriend on Cameo, you fuck, you worm. USA! This isn't that brutal, I guess. Like, they found stars that were still on TV, but didn't have, like, that star quality of, like, oh, wow, you got fucking George Clooney. No, it's just like, you know them from their supporting role in a sitcom you haven't watched in 8 years.
Let's gamble on whether or not they're going to stay on TV with the horrible facial injury they're about to sustain.
I translated it to modern America for the young people. I feel like I was like, who would you get today? It would be like makeup influencer Michaela Noguera fights a tiger.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt on the tightrope. Jason Kelsey sews Kelly Ripa in half. Jason Mraz pulls a rabbit out of a fedora. That was my favorite.
I'm sorry, are we dissing the star talent here? Mr. Belvedere is in this.
Yeah, no, Mr. Belvedere was huge.
That was a get.
I think we have time to kind of go through every act and at least talk about them. So we don't want to get too far ahead, but yes.
Yeah, because there's one act that when you say it, people are going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's a shocker.
I know why you picked this year.
Here's the thing. I have no idea what you're talking about. It could be, there's one of them, sure, that stands out, but you could say any of these things and people will be like, no, that didn't happen.
It's that one, Brockway. It's that one.
I mean, that one wasn't that bad.
Tell you what, I took a 2-minute clip of the intro, because that's how long it took to introduce all the stars. It is a 2-hour broadcast. And we'll just see the staying power of these 1988 celebrities.
Circus of the Stars, with big top performances by the very popular young comedian Louis Anderson.
Very popular.
Very popular.
Co-star of Perfect Strangers, Rebecca Arthur. From the TV
She's
hit
amazing.
A Different World, comedy actor Darryl Bell.
We all remember
Flying
Darryl
tonight,
Bell.
co-star of Out of This World, Steve Burton. Comedian and TV host of Relatively Speaking, John Viner. From The Young and the Restless, handsome leading man Don Diamont. That energetic young actor from Knots Landing, Brian Greene. The bright and beautiful co-star of Head of the Class, Christine Hodge. The entertaining co-host of Entertainment Tonight, Mary Hart.
This is such a long intro. It felt like there were 100 people.
The amusing Christopher Hewitt.
It feels like a Key and Peele bit. It just needs just a little shove to get to jokes.
That dancing fool and very funny gentleman, Harvey Korman.
No, it gets there just on sheer link. Like,
the ten of us,
yes.
Heather Langenkamp.
About 30 names from now, you're going to be like,
the comedy series
what's
duet,
still happening?
Matthew Lawrence.
You'll get hysterical.
Beautiful stage actress starring in the new film Baby Love, Anita Morris. With the same delightful humor he brings to Newhart, Tom Poston.
Well,
From
that
the
one's
mega
funny.
hit series Dallas, the mega beauty Deborah Renard. Former Olympic winner, now musical stage star Kathy Rigby McCoy. The beautiful English actress who now co-stars on Dynasty, Emma Sam. Sports great and the star of TV's First and 10, O.J. Simpson. A familiar face to Dynasty viewers.
Oh, that's the one.
Gordon Thompson.
That might be the one.
From Guiding Light to Circus Lights, Krista Tesoro. The multi-talented singer-actress Dallas co-star Deborah Tronelli.
Jesus fucking
One of the
Christ, it's
brightest
still
stars
going.
of Night Court, Martha
Yep.
Warfield. And making their spectacular big top entrance, your ringmasters, Miss B. Arthur and Mr. Martin Mull.
Well, they
I
saved the
love
best
it.
for last. Somehow funnier
so
than O.J.
fucking
Simpson.
This was the 1988 episode. Like I said, this was a year after the show's first big disaster when Juliette Prowse, Lydia, you might know her because she was an Elvis lady. After her Elvis movie, she spent 20 years struggling to get on TV for any reason. And then she got mauled twice by a leopard during Circus of the Stars rehearsals.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the kind of career decline Corey Feldman could only dream of. Let's see. A leopard also attacked Dynasty's Linda Evans 6 years earlier, but it wasn't as severe, but she did walk off the show. And the only other injury, believe it or not, was Mark Paul Gosselaar, Zach from Saved by the Bell, He didn't get attacked by a leopard. He just got injured a couple years later during rehearsals. So the show only named 3 stars, which is honestly like such a lower number than I was expecting.
This wasn't the last one. I was so, I didn't even look it up. I was so certain, like, well,
There was 19 of these and a Wild West spinoff.
No! Oh, I want to see that so bad.
Oh, we're watching the Wild West spinoff starring Pee Wee Herman in a Wild West stunt show. Yeah, no, it's the fucking best.
Because like I'm the exact demographic for this. Like I love a campy little show, and so I did love this, and I would love to watch more of it.
I was really happy you liked it, and that you never heard of it.
How have we gone so far backwards as a country?
Yes,
that now like our big staple is Dancing with the Stars. It used to be Fighting Lions with the Stars.
Yeah,
like what have we lost?
Used to be a fucking real country. Yeah.
It used to be losing a fight to a leopard with the stars.
Yeah, when do you, on Dancing with the Stars, do you get to see a tiger put a man's whole head in its mouth and you think, oh god, what's about to happen? No,
this is the kind of unstoppable show business vehicle that could not be derailed by 3 celebrity leopard maulings.
This is what they mean when they say make America great again.
Yeah, I'd be on board if this was it.
Yeah, if it was this, I would do it.
I would be wearing that fucking red hat.
The Republican platform was Circus of the Stars. Bring back Circus of the Stars. But no more locker up chants. They're all chanting Mr. Belvidere.
Look, if we want to feed minor celebrities to leopards, it's fine, I think.
I really like that future. Let's talk about the acts. The first one is a spinning spiderweb thing with Olympic medalist Kathy Rigby McCoy. I looked this up. She is very celebrated Broadway actress, a future Tony nominee for Peter Pan. And they call her an Olympic medalist. She won a silver for the balance beam in the 1970 World Games. Close enough, but it is sort of like saying someone's an Oscar winner when they only have a Golden Globe. Anyway, it also seems like cheating because they took a professional gymnast and they let her do gymnastics. I don't know what the sweet spot is for this show. Like, I don't want to watch Magnum P.I. fuck up a handstand, but watching a person famous for handstands doing a handstand isn't a circus of the stars in the quotes. This is just kind of a circus.
It was spider themed. I mean, give them that. Like, the Martin Mull introduced this by saying, spinning on a silvery web high above ring number 2, our next star becomes the lovely spider goddess. Like, that's a fucking sentence to start a show.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Who's gonna become a spider goddess? Like, first thing?
Yeah, this set the bar way too high for most of the rest of the show, though, I felt like, oh, damn, these stars are amazing.
Yeah, and she also, they specified she did this one without a safety belt or a net. And, like, I thought that's the energy we were bringing for the rest of the show. Like,
right.
Oh, they're all... But she, like, you give her credit at least. She was legitimately, like, 2-3 stories above, and, like, there's a mat down there. Again, you could be paralyzed from this.
I think the drama here for me was, she seemed so competent that I'm like, she'll be fine. But, like, there was these round braces where she put her arms in, like, sort of like training wheels for the spider rig. So it was an assisted handstand and this torture contraption that honestly to me looked like if something went wrong, it would snap her forearms in half rather than have her, like, gently fall on a guide wire.
That was not safe. That was not safer. If that was a safety device, that was the opposite. It was doing the opposite of its job.
Yeah, it was making me really nervous. But it was also, like, not very spectacular. And yet you could tell it was fucking impossible. It looked like a carny game where you're like, you're trying to make it look easy, but that shit looks impossible. Like, I think if I was on there, I would just, like, cling to it and wonder how the fuck I'm supposed to jump down without it killing me with the backspin. Like, right? I'd be like, oh, I'm stuck here forever.
And so she was.
Yes. But she's a very flexible gymnast, so she was kind of delicately balancing this stupid spiderweb. I'm just saying, like, a lot of effort for kind of a stupid show. The part I liked, though, is when her trainers came out, and it was, like, circus trainers. So it was like a little forest pixie lady and a big cave troll guy in tuxedos. Like, just absolute Danish folklore creatures emerged from the shadows. Like, I wouldn't fucking notice. Nonsense.
You've hit on the entire vibe of the show where it's like, they stress in the intro, these celebrities have undergone months of training to pull off these feats. Here's the thing. It takes more than that to do an impressive circus show. It takes a lot more than that. So, like, you have all of these people who are doing objectively, I can't do it. Like, they look like very difficult things, but they look like the early stages of learning how to do very difficult things. So it makes for an inadequate circus. And so you've just invited a ton of people to watch like 2 hours of inadequate circus based on the star power of Kathy Rigby McCoy, the lovely spider goddess. And like, she was a lovely spider goddess. I'm glad I got to see that. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like from the premise stage, this is flawed. Like, I can see why some lunatic completely high on 1980s cocaine would be like, yes, Circus of the Stars. But then you tell me it ran for 19 seasons? Like, inadequate circus full of B-list celebrities? 19?
I mean, it very much runs on the same premise as Dancing with the Stars, which is like, you can throw skinny people in the air real high and catch them if you are a professional at something. You know, like, if they're just tiny, that's it. That's all they have to do is be tiny, and circus people will come throw them around, and we'll be like, oh, wow, talent.
If you're under 140 pounds, I will pick you up and throw you. Liddy's right. I make it look easy.
Yeah. A slight rephrase would have made this so much better. Like, juggling of the stars, and it's just large men juggling small stars.
We should pitch that. Like, we need to cut this out and take that to a network.
20 years and a spin-off starring Pee Wee Herman. Absolutely.
Okay, next up is actor Mr. Daryl Bell as an acrobat. I think it's pretty clear B. Arthur fucked Mr. Daryl Bell during the filming of this show. I have a clip here.
Everyone loves the circus acrobats. They excite us and entertain us with their turning, twisting, and tumbling from the time they make their entrance to the time they take their bows. Tonight, after months of rotating their acting careers with their circus rehearsals, our acrobats perform some unbelievable gyrations on and off the teeter board. And here they come now. The talented actor who co-stars as the very funny Ron Johnson on A Different World, Mr. Daryl Bell.
Gyrations off the board is suspect.
Yeah, gyrations off the board. That's a little wink.
Because he didn't do any gyrations off the board.
Nope. I love the line delivery too. They're very funny. Like, just fucking top notch. I love B. Arthur. Just hate fucking this teleprompter. Mr. Daryl Bell comes out with a 9-year-old Brian Austin Green.
Oh my god, he's so tiny. He looks like a stick.
He's adorable.
Like a stick figure, literally.
Well, at the time he was called the energetic actor Brian Green from Knots Landing. And they do some light tumbling. They do like a little, who else is this? Heather Langen. I didn't know.
Heather Langenkamp, she's from Nightmare on Elm Street. She's one of the very first final girls. Huge horror star. Astounding that they put her in this. They
come out, they do a very carefully synchronized ta-da, just to like set the tone of the show. It's like, we're going to watch some assholes do some real amateur tumbling. So it looks like three dorks got a Groupon to do cardio tumbling. They get launched by acrobats into like this stupid seesaw thing and very extremely assisted tricks. I'd say this is, when I say the previous act was like too professional, I say this is way too far in the opposite direction. I don't want to see stars learn how to do circus. Like, come at me in a few weeks when you figure out how to shoot Brian Austin Green into the air, like without professionals in the room, right?
Okay, there is an actual spot in this where Brian Austin Green screws up like his stunt, and it's such a strange stunt because he goes on this little seesaw and then a huge man jumps down and catapults TV's Brian Austin Green, 9-year-old Brian Austin Green, straight in the fucking air, like 30 feet. And he's holding a hoop the whole time. You're like, oh shit. Okay, it's the only trick with this hoop. And you're like, what's he gonna do with that hoop? Turns out the answer is nothing.
Why? He could have been holding anything. Why did they make it a hoop?
Or nothing. Like, it's not better that he's holding a hoop.
First of all, the routine goes on for about 7 hours too long. When they launch him up the first time, he fucks it up and they have to reset and do it again. Again, fine, I forgive that. Like, he's a 9-year-old who's got a busy shooting schedule on Knots Landing. When they give him the hula hoop, I was like, all right, somebody's going to throw that hula hoop. I think maybe that's for a beginner flipper to like stay symmetrical. Because he gets up there and like, he either bails on the stunt or he just throws it away. I have another theory. I think it was the Cyberdyne plot to make sure he could never play Derek Reese on Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Go back in time and kill him when he's a 9-year-old in a leotard, trying to flip onto a man with a pointless hula hoop. Like, that's how you kill a man.
I'm just saying, like, in this context, do not show me the hoop if you're not going to fire TV's Daryl Bell through that hoop. Like, I don't want to see it.
Yep, I don't want the hula hoop blue balls.
This act felt the most egregious to me. Like, I think at this point I wrote, does the actors union know that they're doing this to the children? Because I don't know if we should be allowed to, like, throw children that high in the air.
I love that this is the first one where they start including the Jackie Chan outtakes of them getting hurt while trying to learn this. And it's like I said, like, it's physical. I can't do this. I couldn't do any of this. So yeah, it's impressive that you learned how to do this. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look astonishing. And the audience doesn't, like, at no point is the audience like, fuck yeah, I love this. The audience is just like, I don't know why I'm here. I got lost in Las Vegas, wound up in Reno, which is where this must be happening.
Honestly, I think you could do this, Brockway. A lot of the tricks a dead body could do. A lot of them, they stand on a seesaw and then a professional just launches them onto a mat and they just eat some shit. But it's a mat, so they can. But I thought they were pretty bad. But then when they cut to the training, I'm like, oh, wow, it turns out you can be worse at this.
Yeah, they got hurt, like legitimately hurt in training. Because like when you have a net or you have safety devices or mats or whatever, it still hurts if like you fuck it up. And especially for like 1980s, it's like sometimes they show the net and you're like, is that made out of steel? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an old rope. We keep goats in it.
Fucking deal with that, Heather Langenkamp.
Next up is the young, handsome star of Young and the Restless, Don Diamont. He comes out, he's like a sneering hunk. He can play anything from a husband who cheats on his wife or a husband who kills his wife. This smug fuck, I hate him. I'm just reading what it says in my notes.
Instant soap opera, hunky bad guy. Like, you never had to, they didn't have to say he's from the Young and the Restless. You know that.
Well, and whenever they specifically mention that someone is beautiful or handsome, I feel like that's queuing you up to let you know, like, it's not going to be a good one, guys.
Yep.
I think they're saying, what they're really saying is the stakes in this are, their looks could be ruined. Like, stay tuned, because the tiger could eat most of his face, and this will be the last time he's beautiful.
Oh, see, I thought they were saying, like, you know, we can't get the hot people to do the hard stuff, so this guy's just gonna wave a wand at a lion for a while.
Alright, he does get mauled by lions.
Yeah, sorry, he did get his head almost bit off, sorry.
Multiple times. Multiple lion maulings on this guy. So, like, I don't know. I'd take the Brian Austin Green stand on a seesaw and let a big man fire you in the air. And then 3 other big men catch you. Like, I would pay for that experience. Just personally. Whereas
that's a great would you rather. Would you rather be launched into the air by a giant man or get your head bitten by a lion?
Oh, and have multiple other strong men catch you and tell you that everything's going to be okay? Oh no, I'll say no to that. No, I don't want to fight the fucking tiger with a stick. He comes out, he has a stick.
You gotta hold a hula hoop, though. Does that change anything? Gotta pointlessly hold a hula hoop.
Pointlessly that sucks. Like, I would demand that a hunk be fired through that.
I hated this act. It's uncomfortable. I was rooting for the tigers and lions 10 times harder than I ever rooted for a NASCAR crash. I never understood this kind of animal act, because he's just kind of chasing these beautiful animals around like a dick, and then they sit and they, like, suffer the humiliation. I'm like, you're a fucking mighty lion. Kill that little guy.
They do try a couple times.
And they seem really grouchy about it.
Yeah, they hate it. See, I've never been to this kind of circus. Like, it just didn't really exist by the time I was a kid, where I was a kid. Like, the state fair stuff comes by, and you'd have maybe, like, one example. You'd have, like, maybe a trapeze act or something at the fair, and that would be it. I never realized, like, in my head, it's just a guy cracking a whip, like, away from the lions, and he's got a little chair to keep them back. Here, he's actually beating them with the sticks. He's, like, poking them in the face and shit. Like, that. Yeah. This fucking sucks.
It sucks. And they don't do anything, like, great. They just sit down or run through a hoop. And then it's like, wow, he really plucked up that lion. Good job.
Yeah, because it's not impressive. It's like, this is a lion. They can do shit. Like, they can jump a long ways. So hopping through a little hoop is nothing to the lion. But you can, like, sense the history of abuse behind it, right? Like, oh, that must have taken so many stick hits to get that lion to fucking figure out that's what they wanted it to do.
And then they show you the Jackie Chan outtakes of the lions just kind of mauling him casually, like, don't hit me with the stick, Don Diamont. Yeah. You won't be beautiful anymore.
Yeah, just a bunch of clips of tigers not listening to him and kicking his ass. I liked the outtakes of this. Yeah. The Jackie Chan outtakes of that were, like...
They make it better.
Made me happy.
I think you probably shouldn't have even shown the show. Just, like... If this came on and they're like, Don Diamont will not be doing the tiger act today because of this, and then show me the documentary of him just trying and hitting him with sticks and getting mauled, be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Don Diamont has now seen the inside of a tiger's throat, so he got a little bit of what he deserved, at least.
I got the idea that there wasn't a ton of practice involved anyway. Like, anybody could do this right this second if they had little enough to live for and the right kind of like personality disorder.
I mean, all the animal acts, it's just a trained animal. And then the guy that trained the animal comes in and says, all right, you make this hand motion, never make this one.
That's how I lost wife number 2, 7, and 11.
And Don Diamant made that one a couple times.
All right. I have a clip of when they throw to commercial, which I think you'll like. It's fun.
Next, Gordon Thompson all tied up, and O.J. Simpson does some tying.
How did they know?
Just hits different post-murder, I think.
Yeah, I forgot that he was even. I didn't know really how famous he was pre-murder, because to me it's always been like famous murderer O.J. Simpson. So this was really interesting to see.
It's weird that they introduced him that way in this act, because I think this was a few years before the murder. So like, how did they?
Future
did they
murderer.
just sense it?
Famous for murder, burglary, and kidnapping. It's O.J. Simpson.
I will live up to that someday.
This commercial break, I wrote down how there was a commercial with like a big Hollywood star, one of those guys that you've seen in a lot of movies. I can't remember his name. And it was about how you can't trust that you don't stink just because you're not wet. I thought that was really funny. There was a maxi pad commercial, which was this innovation in menstrual belts at the time, where you would have like a maxi pad with like wings out the side to like wrap around your underpants. I thought like, God, what a time to be alive. The innovations.
Yeah, those things I've seen in museums, and I'm always like, I actually am really glad that I was born in this era.
I thought they had that shit in like the 50s. I was shocked that 1988 is when we came up with the wings.
The wings, yeah. Like before that, I guess like just women had to throw out their underpants every 28 days.
Just pray. You and prayers.
Just pray.
And the underwear.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely don't do any lion taming acts if you don't have the wings on. Like it.
Right. Okay, the next one is a thrill act that will leave you breathless. It's some handsome guy from some handsome show. I don't even know. It is the fucking stupidest shit. It is that flash flood set at the Universal Studios tour ride, and they like knock over a mannequin in a kitchen chair with it. They're like, oh, look at how much water hit that mannequin. Like, you're like, yeah, it knocked over a mannequin. And then this guy, like, you're not going to believe this. Our guy's going to do it with his own body. Like, the stakes have never been lower. And not only is it like they tie him to a chair, like, oh, what an escape act. He's faking the whole thing. He's like, oh, I can't get out of these bonds. And also it's cut post-event. So it's like, oh, is the water close? You don't know. You can't fucking tell.
It seemed like that it was way longer than the water took to reach in the practice. So
yeah.
They also show like maybe it's because camera technology and TV technology were so bad that they were like, you'll never be able to see it, but they very plainly show that they don't tie him down. Like there's just, he has his hands all extended and his arms lifted up, and then he just lowers them when the ropes go loose, and he's like, oh no, how will I? Like, motherfucker, the bar is not high for this show, and you can't even clear that. You're like the third act. You gotta step it up.
I think we could legally sue over them calling this like a thrill act. There's no thrill.
Yeah.
Gordon fucking Thompson. History was right to forget you, whoever you were.
It's like, this man could get a little wet if he doesn't hurry. Like,
don't worry, folks. He won't.
And what a below average. He's in a full spandex suit. He's got a real below average dick basket.
Like, why?
Yeah, if he's listening, I want you to know we know about your tiny dong and you deserve it.
There was no reason for him to wear that little outfit at all. He was just escaping ropes. He could have been in jeans and a t-shirt, and they made him wear the tiniest spandex thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he looks like an asshole.
He looks like a character named Gordon Thompson from like a crappy American adaptation of Robotech.
Yep. He looks like the default creator wrestler in a game about luge street racing. I'm just spitballing. That's not in my notes. I'll write something later. I'm just going to play the intro for the next act. You're going to love it.
A few years back, our next truly super sports star scrambled down a football field to run more yardage in a single season than any other player. I'd say he was blessed with magical feet. Well, on our circus, he's going to display his magical hands and go for yardage of a different sort. Here's the man whose smile is more dazzling than all his golden awards. Sportsman, actor, all-around wonderful Mr. O.J. Simpson.
All around wonderful.
Again, it's weird that you cut "and future double murderer" from that, because she said that, yeah.
All around wonderful? I think she might have fucked O.J. Simpson too.
Well, no, she's still alive. She lived through this.
That's true. It's a good point. I was going to say that I think this was a very good magic act.
I did too.
He has football-related patter. He's like, imagine this cane was Refrigerator Perry and he's coming to tackle me. I go up to him and I'm this hanky. And then he like shimmies the hanky through the cane. Like, boom, pass right through him. Like, this is how OJ gets close enough to stab you. That charm, that dexterity, that speed.
Well, see, I wrote down that this sucks shit and he's terrible.
We're having a lot of disagreements. That's okay.
He couldn't do any of it. Like, they're just really first grade magic tricks. It's like the cane that collapses into a handkerchief shit. Like, you bought this at a magic store. You don't need to learn to do anything.
Absolutely.
The one thing he actually had to do was just to set up a trick. He had to tie some handkerchiefs together, and he kept fucking it up, and he kept blaming his broken hands. He kept saying,
yep.
I thought that was very funny that he kept saying, like, oh, my broken hands have taken, like, I can't tie knots anymore.
Terrible
like,
hands.
He said at one point, Dick Butkus stepped on my hands too much. Like, I didn't know this. I didn't know that was part of football. The toughest part of this act is getting these beat up fingers to work. There's no way that, just for example, I could hold a knife to stab my wife 12 times, let alone her new boyfriend a whopping 25 times. With these hands, it couldn't happen.
If I was Johnny Cochran, I would have used that in my defense. Like, look at him. He can't even do magic.
He can't even tie the
Your
knots.
Honor.
You think he can stab that many times? No. Dick Butkus ruined his hands.
Later in the act, though, he does summon a live bird, and he throws it in the sky where it turns into a napkin. But right before he does that, he's like, hey, kids, you want to see it fly? And then he's like, fuck you, it's fucking hanky now. Your bird's dead.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that in reverse. It's pretty dark if you do it that way.
It's so funny.
And banish the bird back.
I feel like this was a world champion amateur magic act. Like, whether you agree or not, Brockway, this was so much better than I expected from an O.J. Simpson magic act.
I've seen him get away with shit. Like, this should have been better.
That's true. He's an escape artist.
Yeah, this is clumsy work from what I have seen was world class. I'm not saying I but world class.
Yes. Early in his career.
It's weird that Sean and I were charmed by the murderer and Brockway wasn't. I feel like that's not usually the pattern.
I hope that doesn't foreshadow something.
Oh, no.
My bar is really high. You need to be an absolutely dazzling murderer to get me.
I wrote down there was a diaper commercial in the next commercial set, but special ones for different genders because boys pee up front and girls pee in the middle. I feel like this technology stagnated because I bought diapers. There's just the one kind now. Probably because I'm fucking woke. My daughters have to pee on dog pads because I'm fucking woke. Fucking leave that in the show, Jamie.
See, I don't have kids, so I can't comment on the. I can't do a Type 5 on modern diaper technology like you. I just like the maxi pads. I was like, did we just figure this out in 1988 that the different genders pee from different places? It feels late.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't think the positioning is so different on where you want a pad in a diaper, which is kind of just like all everywhere. Over the fucking thing.
Like 90% of the time it's coming out anyway. It's like coming out of the sides and the bottom anyways.
It has an absorption to it and then a capacity, and if the baby has peed in it too many times, you get diaper leakage. It's not like,
we tried giving him winks.
The baby peed on this part of the diaper, and then that's it. It's gonna come squirting out.
Something.
It's just not how
non-binary diaper.
Anyone who's ever held a towel knows that's not really how it works. In 1988, gender roles were so important that they used it to just like, because you don't want to be the bad parent who's like, I don't want to get the wrong gender diapers. Look at fucking Huggies only has the one type. They must have shitty diapers. Like that's all it took to hijack an American mind in 1988. It's much more complicated now. You have to tell them, I'm going to lower the cost of eggs. Something crazy.
This podcast runs in 2 weeks. Are you sure you want to be publicly pro-agender? Like, this is dangerous territory. In this political climate.
We're going to get those diapers back. Those diapers are on their way back in.
Yeah, you're looking at the future, buddy. We're regressing right to it. I think it's far safer for us as a podcast to get to the woman fucking the elephant.
Let's do it. Anita Morris is next. This was a great act. The elephant seems like it's kind of having fun. It's picking Anita Morris up, carrying her around. That's the only thing that happens in the act. Nothing else happens, right?
She lays down and he kind of lays on top of her like, oh, maybe I'm going to crush her to death. No, I won't. I won't do it.
He puts her in his mouth a few times and spins around. Like, that's I don't know. I found it weird that the strongest sexual chemistry on this show was between Anita Morris and an elephant.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It felt weirdly erotic watching this woman just get manhandled and groped by an elephant to Zonko clown music. Like, I didn't realize I was into that.
Yeah, when it gently laid down on her and all we can see is her sparkly boobs and screaming face, while the rest of her's just getting sex crushed by an elephant in neon nail polish.
Yeah.
This show absolutely created at least 200 new elephant perverts, including me right now. I'm just telling you what it says in my notes.
202, man. You got them.
That's it for that act, right?
Yeah,
It's just
that's it for the show.
She
baby.
almost fucked an elephant. Done.
I have an interesting fact about that act, which is kind of a bummer, but it's cool too. I didn't know who she was, so I Googled her, and it says on her Wikipedia that she was diagnosed with cancer, ovarian cancer, in 1980, and they said she only had 5 years to live. This is 1988, and she lived for 14 years. So she had ovarian cancer at this point for like 8 years, and she's out here just being hot and like, you know, having sexual chemistry with an elephant. Like, what a queen.
Yeah.
So inspiring that,
What a
like,
queen.
you should have been in the grave 3 years ago, and instead you're out here inspiring new fetishes.
Yeah.
Decades after you passed.
Yes.
That's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I thought that was crazy. Had to share.
It's a beautiful story, and one we can all relate to.
Timeless.
Yeah.
A classic.
Next is Harvey Korman and Mary Hart. I'm just going to play a clip. It's really good. It starts to get weird, and it keeps getting weird. It will never stop getting weirder. I just want you to enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that marvelous comedian, Mr. Harvey Korman. And she is the glamorous star of entertainment tonight, Miss Mary Hart.
Oh, wow, magic dust, gold dust, the circus. My cup runneth over in meeting you.
I am so glad to be here at the circus with you, Harvey. I've wanted to do this for ages and ages
Me
and ages.
too.
and ages.
I wanted to meet you for ages and ages. Can we go out? Can we be a couple? Can we be an item? Let's go out. We'll sing. We'll dance tonight.
Dance. You say dance?
I
You
love
like
to dance.
Do you really?
Of course.
What kind of dancing do you like?
Get this. Da-da-da-dum.
How about something a little faster?
A little faster?
Yeah.
Like what, for instance?
Well, up-tempo, something that's really happening and now.
Well, how about the monkey?
No. It's the monkey,
Okay.
all right. Something else?
A real monkey? I don't know. Give me a clue, a hint. What do you want?
How about something that, the twist.
The twist.
The twist.
You mean the twist is back in?
Harvey, I knew you could do it. Can I do that?
Twist all night and
That's
break
too
your
good.
neck.
Well,
Hey,
maybe-
talking about twisting and talking about the necks, I have a little surprise for you. Would you just come over here and step into my apartment?
What?
Anything for you, Mr. Corman.
Yes, we will do the twist, my dear. Just step in there and I'll show you a twist.
What the fuck?
This is the opposite of the sexual chemistry that Anita Morris had with the elephant. Like, it's so jarring to put these two together. Like, I was in a place and you're like, no,
Yeah.
shut it down. Watch Harvey Korman and Mary Hart fucking visibly hate each other on stage.
Oh, I just say when she opened up, she did say, "I am so excited to see you, Harvey."
Yes. Wow.
At the end of that clip, you can hear it. He
Yeah.
accidentally says, "Apartment, step into my apartment." When he's really got like he's got a little magic booth that she's supposed to step into. And what he meant to say was compartment, but like she doesn't correct him right away. But then like as he's putting her in there, she stops everything to go, "Wait a minute, earlier, did you say apartment, you asshole?" And then he has to stop and be like, well, it's
Yeah,
a compartment. It's a
fucking
compartment.
idiot.
She's like, yeah, compartment. And then they finish setting up the trick. It like derails the whole thing just to let you know we fucking hate each other.
It's one of the worst anythings that could ever exist. It's one of those head spin around in a box tricks that you just buy if you got $800. It sucks really hard. She gets all twisted up. He's like, "You look like a challah," and you're like, "God damn it! Just burn it down." Louis Anderson comes out with a little dog, and his act is that he's bad at it, and it's cute. The dog kicks his ass. Very strange.
You could see the dog like looking off to the side at the trainer the whole time. Like Louis Anderson did nothing but show up for this act.
I fucked up a little bit here. I have in my notes, Sean will, of course, have Martin Mull's insane rambling intro clipped. You don't need to write this down.
I took it out. I thought it was like mean-spirited, but it was like this 40-second fat joke. It was like...
It was so hard to get. It was so insane. He's like, something about animal crackers, you know, who likes crackers, maybe too much crackers. It's Louis Anderson. It's something else about crackers. Here's animals. You're like, what the fuck just happened to your brain, Martin Mull?
It was like him having a stroke while making a fat joke, and it just ended up him just rambling about animal crackers. Yeah, I didn't clip it. I have in my notes, Brockway's going to think I'm going to clip this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to trick him.
It's a double cross. Yeah, his sucks. Like, Louis Anderson, at least, he usually has some kind of energy about him, but he does not want to be doing this. Does not have that sexual chemistry with the dog. I don't know why I'm looking for that in everyone now.
He's like one of the only people with staying power, you know, that was on this, one of the only non-murderers, sorry, with staying power, and he has, like, the worst act in the show.
I love that Martin Mull takes him out with a wow of a performance, and then there's just a moment of silent sadness. You're like, yeah, we all deserve that. Let's move on.
Yeah, you fucked that up. I took another note about the commercials here because there was a commercial that was just there for the purposes of education. It was about John Adams and his heroic defense of a slave ship uprising. It was like pro-civil rights and just educational for the sake of it. And I was like, it's such a view into a truly different America. Like, the idea of this coming on TV right now would feel like so jarring. Like, oh, is this like an anti-Trump ad? What is this? Okay, so next we get 3 actors. It's the second girlfriend on Perfect Strangers, Steve Burton, who would go on to do, according to IMDb, 2,579 episodes of General Hospital, and Deborah Trinelli from Dallas. That's as of recording the podcast. It's probably 7 more to 14 more by the time it airs. So these were people with fucking intense shooting schedules, right? Like, if you filmed Circus of the Stars today, you'd have a media call list of 25,000 people on it who could squeeze in 12 months of training, right? There's just a lot of struggling actors today. They picked people with, like, running shows that are with, I don't know, that's my point. And so they're not very good. This is kind of exactly what I think most people would picture when they think of Circus of the Stars. They're people too busy for this, not being very good at it, and not quite famous enough for it to be interesting. That being said, Balki Bartokomous' girlfriend is crazy on the trapeze. Just like a secret acrobat the whole time. She hit a double flip on the trapeze, which is not something you learn in a weekend.
They literally said, like, that's never happened at a circus before, I feel like. And I'm like, oh my God.
A Circus of the Stars.
Okay, I thought they said...
In a real circus, they've hit quadruples.
Okay. Never mind. I thought there was something they said has never been done even at a circus before, but I think that's later in the show. Never mind. And that's later in the show, and
yeah, I have stuff to say about that.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
We're gonna get into that. No, this was impressive, but again, in that way where you're like, I don't know enough about trapeze, so that they had to have like B. Arthur just off screen going, and this one is very hard. This is called like a double catcher routine, and you won't know this, but like, this is really hard, so look closely. And then they do what looks like the same shit again. And you're like, okay, was that the hard thing, or is that coming up? She's like, okay, yes, that has never been done before on this episode of this show.
I do sort of appreciate when you're watching something like as niche as amateur trapeze, to have someone there to tell you what's hard. Like, this part is more difficult. It looks easy. Or stupid, but I assure you, what they're doing is hard.
I don't think the exposition adds much for me. It's just, there's like the implied stakes here are that these are very busy people who are risking putting themselves out of work for this. So like, you should appreciate it, even though it may not look like much. And then they do show the outtakes, and they look awful. Like they have like rope with steel net that they fall like 3 stories and Deborah lands straight on her fucking neck. Like, I was like, oh my God, that can't be one of them because that person is paralyzed. And no, she's like, yeah, I'm fine.
She's 4 inches shorter now, but she's fine. They lost a lot of face skin in the net. You're right.
Steve Burton eats shit face first into like his catcher's knees 3 times. You're like, he needs that face. It's all he has.
But Balki Bartokomous' girlfriend was like just barely missing crazy 2 catcher flips or whatever the hell they call them, and self-correcting midair like a flying squirrel, just gliding into that safety net like it's nothing. Like, I hope she went on to do this. She didn't do a lot of acting after this. I looked her up. She was a private investigator and a dancer before she became an actress, so she might have just been accumulating skills like Batman. She's somewhere getting revenge on crime today.
Yeah, this is a very specific set of skills.
Yeah.
She's living out Taken somewhere.
This is real life Harley Quinn.
Deborah does a shoot across from the Russian swing, and B. Arthur's like, dude, this shit's crazy. Wait till you see this. And then she just like jumps off of a swing.
That's what I mean. It's like I
any 8-year-old.
I don't know what that is. You've told me that it's hard.
Yeah. It was about as far as like I would jump from the ground without a swing. It was like, way to go, Rebecca. Then there's my next commercial note was hot young Brad Pitt. Did a Pringles commercial where I think he and 2 other hunks steal a woman's car. I don't know. A lot happens in it. Next one, there's they say there's a big stupid trebuchet they designed specifically for Bubba from Mama's Family. That's what fucking Martin Mull said. I heard him.
We've designed a device to kill Bubba from Mama's Family.
Oh, it's fucking great. And he comes out and he does the same trick any girl does with a jean jacket at any horizontal bar at an elementary school. Like he just kind of rotates around a bar, but it's up high.
Well, let's not skip over the dazzling intro because he's pretending to try to wrestle this giant 4-story tall metronome thing that he has. And he's pretending to be like a maintenance guy dressed in his like full coveralls. And then, oh no, he gets carried away by it and he pretends like that's an accident. But like, there are legitimate accidents in this. And for a second, you're like, oh, somebody's going to die. And then he reaches the other side safely. And then before the metronome can tick back the other way, several large hunks grab his coveralls and then they burst off of him like a male stripper. And he ascends gloriously nude into the sky.
It was radical. Yeah, we all loved it, right?
So there are breakaway janitor's costumes? Like that's an in-demand stripper role as sexy janitor?
I think it's more for the surprise element of stripping, you know? Like, if you really want to shock the bride at the bachelorette party, like, you don't have a policeman show up or whatever. It's got to be the janitor.
I heard someone here puked. I'm here to clean it up.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's...
Or am I? They're like, no, someone really did puke. Can you please clean that?
Yeah, like, we could have really used the janitor. If you could... does this go back together? It doesn't? Oh, okay.
If we're allowed to pick, we pick janitor, please.
And they're like, there are some, Sean's right, and this looks like fucking nothing. It looks like absolutely nothing. But there are some like displays of strength here that are remarkable. Like when he like lowers himself out to be like sort of horizontally planking just by his triceps. Like you have to be very strong and in control to do that, but it doesn't look like that. And they filmed this segment in the daytime at like a theme park. So we're looking at an audience look at him up in the sky, just kind of slowly moving around. And like, maybe that's very hard. It looks like it's very hard, but they don't know that. And so nobody's clapping. Everybody's just watching this man in grim fucking silence, like slowly oscillate around a bar. Like, it's very surreal.
I kind of refuse to believe there's a person who gets pumped up knowing Bubba from Mama's Family did a 2-story plank, right? Like, it's not bad enough to be funny. It's not good enough to be exciting. And it's, like, aggressively not interesting.
And they apparently built this device just for him to do that?
Right.
No.
Why do any of this?
Like, maybe he was like, hey, I can do this cool trick where I, like, am sideways on a pole. And they were like, okay, well, that's nothing. But let's, like, build something around that.
What if it was very high? Yeah. What if you wore a rip-away janitor's costume? Like, okay, now we're building something.
You're on like
I don't know what it is.
Like a weeble wobble pole. Yeah.
And I found the pairing for what comes next so interesting. Because, like, Bubba from Mama's Family up here doing, like, a genuine feat of strength that looks like nothing to no reception. And has obviously trained, maybe not specifically for this, but throughout his whole life to, like, have the body and coordination to do that for, like, no reward. And then fucking Mr. Belvidere comes out.
Full vampire cape and medallion.
Vamping like a birthday Dracula. Just...
Yep.
And that the audience absolutely loves him. The most dog shit magic routine I have ever seen.
Yeah, this one was bad.
It's so bad.
This one was worse than O.J. Simpson's by far, you have to admit.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm glad you said that.
No argument. It's a terrible routine, but the audience loves it so much that at one point they applaud for the concept of a box. There's no cue for applause, he says, and now the second box, and the audience bursts out into applause, and he looks around like, you schmucks.
That's
you
the
fucking
hold
chumps.
He has over everyone. That was how popular Mr. Belvedere the character was.
He does a Mr. Belvedere reference in the middle of being introduced as the man who played Mr. Belvedere on Mr. Belvedere. That's how big the show was.
Boss, Mr. fucking Belvedere! He's gonna clean. He does a bit where he, like, takes out the flowers and he pretends to dust, and the audience goes nuts. They ain't dusting!
Yeah. He's doing the Belvidere shit.
Meanwhile,
That guy
Bubba from
just shot
Mama's
the show!
Family is over here being fired across a theme park, and he's like, to nothing? Nothing? Nobody?
Yep.
Human trebuchet across Disney Orlando to no applause.
I did take a note that Belvedere was creeping on his assistant. I would say 20% more than you're supposed to as a magician. Just like it was too enthusiastic. I get that you're supposed to say like, look at how lovely my assistant is, but he was like, oh, look at them titties. Yeah, wrap them napkins around your titties, you dirty girl.
It felt
Like
unscripted.
Mr. Belvedere, you got a job to do. Yes, it felt like he was going way off script.
But he did it in the Mr. Belvedere voice with like trilling his R's, and the audience loved him for it.
Ooh, look at her
They loved
fine
it.
body. Like, yeah, with this little shitty little accent. Yeah, I fucking hated that.
Such a a fail that his magic show was that much worse than O.J. Simpson's on the same program. I mean, O.J. 100% murdered his assistant, but at least we didn't have to watch him leer at her tits for 8 store-bought magic tricks. I'm just reading my notes.
Yeah, my notes say, good job, O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was better.
Everybody just clip that, take it out of context, turn it into like a techno remix, put a good beat to it.
Oh, I said it.
I clipped a commercial from this break. It's pretty good.
It's delicious.
I'm shocked. You've seen these commercials, shot secretly in fine restaurants, but maybe you think, no one in my house would fall for that Folgers switch. Well, now you can find out. Write to Folgers Switch at this address, and we'll send you a high-value coupon for Folgers crystals and a step-by-step brochure to do the secret switch at home. Folgers crystals. Find out if someone in your home will say,
Oh, this tastes just like fresh brew to me. I can't believe it.
What does the brochure possibly say?
That's the payoff. Here's how to trick your family, you stupid fuck.
The switches just try giving them our coffee instead of the coffee you normally give them. Is there a step 2?
God damn it, it's a high-value coupon and a brochure on how to trick your family into drinking the wrong coffee for the payoff of, oh, wow, I thought it was a different coffee. Just, and this is like this meta ad campaign about a previous ad campaign.
We got to get our hands on that brochure. That's hot dog material.
Yeah, that's absolutely hot dog
It's gotta be
material.
one step. Like, you can't make a hot dog article out of one sentence. Like, even you did... I know you did the one page of Catman or whatever, but even you couldn't do one.
I did a single panel of Catman. I could do it.
Right.
I could do it.
All right, you might be able to do it.
You were born for this. All right, we'll try to find it. If you're listening to the podcast and have the high-value coupon and or the brochure on how to trick your family into drinking Folgers crystals, please contact us.
Let us know. I will send you my full home address if you'll give me the pamphlet.
Even if you're O.J. Simpson, she will.
Yes.
She really admires your magic, O.J.
You want a new fan.
and she and myself are charmed by your charisma. Okay. The next event is a high wire act. It's Christine Hage from Head of the Class, Deborah Renard from Dallas, and Matthew Laurence from a show that only lasted 2 seasons about a mystery writer and a caterer. This sucks. They're doing nervous comedy bits like they're at a kid's birthday party, which is only made worse when they cut to the crowd, and there's not that many kids in the crowd.
I said it was like baby comedy, like when you pretend to fall down and babies think that's hilarious, so you're just doing it over and over again, because you're a sad comedian and that's what you do with your life. Like, that's what it felt like.
It's kind of worse than that, because Matthew Lawrence is making the, like, improv first day mistake of mistaking being really mad about something for comedy.
Yes.
So, like, there's no charm or, like, nuance to any of his delivery. He's just kind of snapping and yelling. And you're like, shut up, dick, is all you think, like, the whole time. But those are supposed to be the punchlines.
Or you're like,
instead of laughing.
are all these people trying to kill Matthew Lawrence for some reason? Like, that's the attitude he seems to have.
And are correct to do so.
Probably the whole Circus of the Stars was planned to kill Matthew Lawrence.
However, this is the section where, like, they say nobody's ever done this in a circus before, and they don't specify in Circus of the Stars, and that's when they're all going over the high wire, and is it Deborah? I think it's Deborah Renard who does she does it in high heels, and they said that's what they say. Nobody's ever done this before, and that does look fucking intense when she's trying to do it in high heels. I think it's a bold choice that we do a close-up on her feet over and over again while Christine whispers, right, perfect, right, perfect, perfect, right. Like, this absolutely this might have invented foot fetishes. I don't know the history, but like this could be where that came from.
Yeah, there was a lot of close-ups of high-heeled foot in a lot of danger, which I feel like has to be erotic to somebody.
While another woman went, right, perfect, right, perfect.
And she's like whispering.
Yeah, there's like a stern librarian. Yeah. It's a lot of everything. This show's got something for every boner. So they have a big argument about the shoes, speaking of shoes. And so Matthew's like, I could fucking wear any shoes, you stupid women. And they're like, okay, wear flower pots on your feet. And he's like, what? Okay. And so he puts these stupid baskets on his feet. And I think this was a way to trick us. Because I think these are like training wheels for.
I did too. I was like, that makes it look
way
easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the conventional knowledge might be like it's harder when you can't feel your feet kind of wrap around it.
Right.
But it's giving you more surface area, is what I thought.
Yeah. But it just doesn't feel true when because like the way that they do it is she goes out first, as Deborah Renard goes out first and does it in high heels, and that looks crazy. You're like, okay, like that legitimately looks super difficult. And then she like kicks them off and then walks the rest of the way barefoot. And then Matthew Lawrence comes out and does it in the flower baskets. And then at the end, Christine Hodge comes out and does it just normally barefoot. And they're like, that's the hardest of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they say that's the hardest thing of all is to do this unassisted. And you're like,
yeah, we're being lied to.
Were the other ones? The other ones weren't then?
It's all untrustworthy. I added something, Matthew Renard. For a dude, he's got a cute little thigh gap. I'm just reading what it says in my notes, but like, I thought that's a strange thing for a fella to have.
We're all learning a little something about ourselves. I'm learning I'm into elephant play. You're learning you're into Matthew Lawrence, and Lydia's learning she's into O.J. Simpson. That's the worst one.
Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah, we all lost pretty hard.
How did I land on that one? Okay.
I'm coming out of this one clean, man. I feel good.
I did like the redhead from Head of the Class comes out, just kind of raw dogs across, just a nice wobbly hustle across the rope, and they're like, ooh, that's the hardest one. I'm like, really? It seems like...
It doesn't look great.
Yeah, it seems like...
It doesn't look like the hardest one.
Well, and they did it... Why did they do it in that order, then? Where you do the hard... Like, that's anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was terrible planning, because they had that great comedy bit about the baskets.
Oh, that's what... Yeah, they
so
had
awful.
to do that.
When they cut to them training, it just looks really frustrating and hard and embarrassing and stressful. And I was like, this sucks. Don't show us this. Don't show any of the high wire stuff.
Yeah, it's not...
And then you're like, okay, finally we're done. But then they come back and they all bicycle across. And this looks so impossible, but wildly unentertaining. Just like, I think Celebrity High Wire might have the highest difficulty, lowest entertainment value of any time investment a person can make.
Yeah,
just don't do this.
Yeah, and they said they practiced for 3 months, and I'm just like, like 3 months of your life to this?
And no, the audience doesn't disagree with us. Like, the reception they get is completely muted. It's like, they are right there, up there. You can see, like, the moment, if you have a high-definition video of this, you can see the moment they realize that was a total waste of 3 months. Like, they're looking around like, nothing?
But at least it's a good lead into the fun rap that they do.
Yeah, I have in my notes, don't write this down. Sean will, of course, have a clip.
Most actors love to complain about something during rehearsals, and nowadays there's no better way than to rap it.
We sing it as we fly the track to a beat we all know as the rap. Cause rap is what we all must do if we want our wrist to see us through.
Better one.
You know, a rope burn hurts like nothing else, so we wrap our arms when wearing belts.
From way up here, I'd hate to slip, so I wrap the pole for a tighter.
You know what? I took the whole thing. I'm not going to listen to that ever again.
Was it an ad for raps? Like, I never... What was the purpose?
That's just what we did in 1988.
Okay.
Like, you would just rap stuff. Like, just the idea of having a rap.
I was so certain you would play that whole thing, including when they throw to commercial and it goes, local skinheads say they are not racist. Like, that's how that rap ends.
That's what's amazing. Yes. It's the fucking CBS Minnesota affiliate is like, we heard from the skinheads they're not racist, and just like you do in the future, we just believe when Nazis tell us lies.
They show them sitting there in front of a swastika, and they're like, they're pretty sure they're not racist. Anyway, wasn't that a great
amazing
rap about raps?
That like 99% white people did?
Yes. I was going to say, speaking of awkwardly black-coded 80s mistakes, there's a commercial for the California Raisins. Let's see. So now the handyman on Newhart comes out. Like he's going to do a bear act, like a live bear act, but instead he's got a stuffed bear on a stick.
Fuck
it
you.
is fucking, like, what the fuck? Like, I agree. That's what my notes say. Fuck you. Like, what are we doing here, Circus of the Stars? Fuck
Like,
you.
I don't necessarily, after the tiger thing, I don't want to see this bear get poked in the face by a smug man with a stick, but it's better than coming out with a teddy bear and pretending to do it. Like, at least Don Diamant got partially digested by a tiger earlier. Like, you can't go down in stakes like this.
That there's a reveal that here comes something else. Okay, here comes the live bear. Stop fucking around. No, it's a giant man in a bear mascot costume with a big stick, and they put Tom on a stick. So like every puppet story ever told, the puppeteer becomes the puppet. Like that's how they end it, with that like haunting puppet horror.
It was so clearly supposed to be like, okay, now he's gonna bring the real bear out, even just for one fucking trick. No, this was nothing.
It's the inverse like star quality to talent curve of the show. I feel like that guy. Okay, that guy was on Newhart. Like he's pretty famous. Let's have him come on and do something that only takes like 2 days to learn how to do.
You're being generous. I think you could learn that in the car ride over.
I think he improvised this.
That's also possible, yeah. A beautiful actress from Dynasty comes out, and a guy tries to hypnotize her. It gets creepy real fast. I have a clip.
You're getting sleepy. Deep sleep.
Is that it?
I can't understand this, Emma. I've done it 100 times. It usually works like this. Ah, Emma, very good. Now you will follow my every command. Open your eyes. Relax. Your body will do what I tell it to. Only what I tell it to.
You cut off the way his next line is, "You are perfectly safe as long as you are in my control."
I'm really glad you wrote that down. Yes, it was troubling. And then he like levitates her over the course of just 10 Earth days. It is so fucking long. And then she's like, derp, nothing happened. And then he snaps his finger. She falls asleep. They leave. It is so fucking bad.
She begins talking about like her experience. She's like, well, nothing happened. It's like I was telling you, I must be immune. And then he snaps again just to hypnotize her to shut up. And that's the joke, is women should shut up.
Yes.
What a troubling vibe this whole thing was, like start to finish.
Uh-huh.
I mean, hypnosis never has a great vibe.
No, but it's another weird fetishy thing. So we've got like feet, hypnosis, like weird furry stuff. Like,
all right, that's what this is. This is the Sears catalog of its day. Like this is for perverts in the Midwest to jerk off before they had any other recourse.
It's the Amazon romance hashtags, or Amazon erotica, I guess, hashtag section.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can only come once a year when Circus of the Stars is on.
Speaking of erotic, the next act is Marsha Warfield, and she's wearing a Sarah Sherman costume, and she's making puppies jump through a hoop. I don't know whose fetish that is, but it's somebody's.
I like the way they announced this. Martin Mull said, coming up, arrows for Krista Tesreau, puppies for Marsha Warfield. That's a terrible deal.
Yeah, Marsha Warfield definitely got the better end of that deal. I found no fault with this act. I think everyone involved did a great job and had fun. In fact, I'm the only one brave enough to say it. There should be more puppy circus content on TV.
Yeah, because the puppies like it. And you're not beating the puppies with a stick. You're just giving them treats if they do a good job. So, like, this is very different than the lions.
I will say, if your circus has 2 fucking dog acts, like,
that's a lot.
That should not be the televised one.
Yeah.
Like, 1 is pushing it. 1 is like, okay, well, you got dogs to do stuff. I do that at home. But whatever, this is cute. Fucking 2? I don't know, man.
I looked up Marsha Warfield just to see what she's up to. It was a clip of her 70 years old on a daytime talk show where they just loved Marsha Warfield. Like, oh, comedy legend Marsha Warfield. And she's up on stage like, oh, thank you. I met my wife recently. I was doing a stand-up act. And I said, I want a younger woman, someone juicy. And she screamed, yoo-hoo! And that's how they met. And I was like, that is the most beautiful love story. She's just some slightly younger lesbian in the audience saying, yeah, I'm juicy. Right here, I'm juicy, Marsha Warfield. And then they got married.
Yeah, but they don't show you how many times Marsha Warfield asks an audience, "Is anyone juicy out there?" and was just met with silence.
And yeah, absolute silence. I think I would clap if she said, "Who here is juicy?" I'd say, I'm not gonna whoop, but I will clap. I will add to that juicy energy.
And the spotlight will come on you. She will scour and walk off stage.
I don't have the guts to marry a sitcom star, to tell a sitcom star that I'm juicy and want to marry them from their audience. I could never.
Night Court makes me juicy.
I'm going to play this part of the podcast for my husband and tell him, Marsha Warfield, you better look out, because I'm going to go to her shows and tell her that I'm juicy.
Who here gets juicy for Night Court, everybody?
Got so many great clips today, Lydia.
Oh, no.
Next is I think this is the final act, the star of Daytime Soap Guiding Light, Krista Tesreau, comes out, and she's wearing a sparkly bikini doing flips and splits and round-offs and walkovers. Just an incredible feat of acrobatics. And all she's there to do is hold up things for some professional archer to shoot.
I like how Martin Mull introduces her. She's used to threatening barbs, but tonight she's facing a different threat. Real arrows.
Murder.
So funny. Just written by a madman. I feel like this isn't even a circus that starts. This is more like the best volunteer you could hope for from an audience.
Yeah. This is the
if
Bob
you're a professional
show.
Archer.
The archer is named Bob, and this is his show.
She is a world-class archer assistant.
Yeah,
she
couldn't ask for better.
She pointed
She's
at
great.
stuff real good and held still.
Yeah. And the sparkles and the flips, fantastic.
Yeah.
I will say
the act is weird.
Are you about to talk about the executioner's hood thing?
Yeah, let's
I don't mean to skip ahead if you're not.
Or, before that, what bothered me was when she found the pepper. That was weird. Why did she she dropped it out of her blouse or something, and he was like, "What's that?" Oh, that she's like, "It's nothing." Well, you have it.
It's my secret
it in your
pepper.
blouse or whatever. He's like, "It's a pepper."
Right.
It's a secret pepper for later. It's my reward for doing good. It's my reward for being brave.
Yeah, it's how you land a round off. You jam a pepper in your panties. It's an old circus trick.
Yeah, you'd like a spicy nipple. Everybody likes a spicy nipple now and then.
There was nowhere in that sparkly bikini to keep a pepper, is what I'm saying.
That's true. She had a thigh gap like Matthew Laurent.
But the finale of this, all right, it's just an archery show or whatever. It's a good archery show. She does great presenting. The Bob the Archer is really good with his crossbow and arrow. But then for the finale, they have him put on an executioner's hood, which is that's too dark. No, just make a normal blindfold.
That's a weird vibe.
And then they have him he's supposed to triangulate where she is by her countdown. So she counts to 10. She says 1, 2, 3, and every time she says something, he makes a jerky robotic movement adjusting his aim. It's really fucking freaky. It feels like
it's so weird.
It feels like a Zelda enemy or something.
Yeah.
But
like she's trying to outsmart a statue puzzle.
Right, this is I will have to angrily watch a YouTube to beat this weird fucking thing that follows your every noise.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a dark way to end.
He pretends to be so off at first too. He didn't even look at where the thing was 10 seconds ago. He's completely all the way to the left, and then she's like 1, and he's like, "Oh."
And try it. Have someone in your room say a noise and see if you can point your head in their direction with your eyes closed. And then if they stay in the same exact spot and make another noise, see if you jerk your body 45 degrees in one direction. Just see if that's something that's natural for you. Because that's what this guy does 10 times.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. And then all in an executioner's hood to aim a deadly weapon at a woman in a bikini. You're like, look, I know this is for perverts to jerk off to, but we don't want this demographic. You don't want these ones.
Yeah, weird that they ended on that act. One of their least climactic act. That, an actual thrill act. It wasn't a man getting tied to a chair and escaping a gentle trickle of water.
Yeah.
Weird ending.
But it was also, not really of the stars. This is just a totally normal archery act.
Yeah.
They say he's famous, but, famous for being an archer. And questionable. I'd never heard of him.
I think it's kind of if you haven't popped off by now with all the high heels and elephant stuff, then this is for you. I'm fine, here's your reward, you jaded, awful perverts.
Yeah.
I did like B. Arthur's speech at the end where B. Arthur, the Circus of the Stars ringmaster, ends the show talking about how great Circus of the Stars ringmasters are. I thought that's adorable. And then I do have the sign-off. It's a great sign-off.
Until next year, may all your days be circus days. Good night, everybody.
Einstein, 100, Frankfurt. Einstein, 100, Frankfurt. Unser Podcast genau. Und mit maximalen Schau. Sag Frankfurt Podcast. Korrekt. Ja. Der Kraft ist nicht gratis, nicht ohne. Schick die in die Hundezone. 4 eine Stunde. Komm schon, du kennst die Nummer.